All right, a very good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to, this week, episode 9 of Parrot Park Radio. Great to have your company. We've got a full studio, full list of great guests coming up tonight, and, we might introduce the trio around the room. Ollie, Bobby, Pup, firstly, good evening to you, gents.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. How are you, Rick?
Tremendous, thanks. Cannot start. We got to start off with Mr. Overconfident here, who just lives and breathes Richmond, and I left him alone until probably 5 minutes after the Hawks beat Richmond. It was a tremendous victory. I actually did tip Richmond, changed it 10 minutes before the game started, but you got a smile on your face. But they were fair dinkum. They were terrible.
They were shocking. Yeah. I don't know if Dimmer will even review that one. He'll just throw it out and look at the next one.
Hawthorn were very good.
There's some strange results, isn't there, really? Like Adelaide struggling big time. Gold Coast looking good. Yeah.
Adelaide have kicked 9 goals in 8 quarters of football.
Yeah.
Since they've come back.
I'll tell you what, it all turned to shit for them since they stared at Richmond in the 2017 Grand Final of the National Anthem, really, didn't it?
And fair chance. I'm hearing Tex Walker could be chopped this week from the team.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the mail.
So. And Essendon, Pup. What's going on there?
Oh, fair dinkum. Like I say, come off a couple of good wins. And, Saturday afternoon, good old mate Tex, who's been on the program. We got a bet going, or a bet probably 15 years. Whoever finishes higher on the ladder between the Hawks and Essendon win a carton. Mm-hmm. We actually did come up with another one. What if a player from either team gets COVID? The bet's off then. I thought he was taking the piss out of me, but when I found out, I was devastated. But having said that, if you have read, I don't know what's going on there, because he's come back with a negative result already.
Well, so. I reckon I know. If one team could find a vaccine, it'd be Essendon, wouldn't it?
Yeah, good on you, Bobby.
This is the sort of stuff our first guest tonight's shaking his head, and we'll get to him very shortly, because he's going to have some great stories to tell as well. We're looking forward to catching up with Tim Coyle very shortly. We're also going to announce our number 2 player of the 2000s. So only a couple left to go. We'll catch up with him. And we're going to head to the UK tonight too, Bobby.
Yeah, going global.
Global, heading off to London very shortly as well. But we're going to get to a break. When we come back, looking forward to catching up and having a yarn with Tim Coyle very shortly.
The wait is over, the beer's cold, and we're excited to invite you all back to the tavern. We're open for lunch and dinner 5 days a week, Thursday through to Monday, opening from 11am. Bistro lunches and dinner available. Bar open from 2 to 5:30pm. Numbers are restricted, so bookings are essential to avoid disappointment. Takeaway and pizza are available during service hours. The tavern team can't wait to welcome you all back. Give us a call to secure your welcome back feed. See you at Lagana Tavern, proud sponsors of the Bridgenorth Parrots.
Beaconsfield Hardware, for the best range and expert advice for your hardware and nursery needs. Call in and see club sponsor Beaconsfield Hardware today at 4 Shore Street, Beaconsfield. Go Parrots.
Club sponsor Exeter Farm and Feed are your one-stop shop for everything needed for your farm and livestock needs. From gates to drench, down to layer pellets and everything in between. Call into our shop at 130 Main Road, Exeter today.
Welcome back to Parrot Park Radio. Great to have your company this week. Now, our first guest tonight, you'll certainly remember him from cricket. He had a great coaching career, coached Tasmania to 3 Sheffield Shield titles, 2 one-day titles. Also played 7 first-class matches for Tasmania with a high score of 55 against Western Australia. I will say, though, against a very, very good attack. Tim Coyle, great to see you. Welcome.
Lovely to be here, fellas.
Talk us through that, because I think it was against WA. Now, talk me through that. Was Terry Alderman in that side
Alderman,
still?
Yeah.
Bruce Reid?
Bruce Reid, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair attack, isn't it?
Yeah, Ken McClay, I think, was the other.
Oh, yeah, the all-rounder.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, those were the days. It was a good part of my life. One that I hung into my position in the squad for a lot of years for that little opportunity that might come along, and it did when I was 30 years of age. So that was the thing. I hung in there until I got a chance. Played 7 or 8 games and. Something they can't take off me.
No, that's exactly right. And we have got a great history of terrific wicket keepers.
Yeah.
Obviously yourself, and then Richard Sewell, who I think I said to you before, probably one of the unluckiest wicket keepers to not play for Australia. I know his knees got a bit crook in the air, but by golly, he was a good glovesman, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I got my spot in the team when Sewell didn't come up early in one season, so that's how I got a chance to play. But he was a fantastic player. A very good bat as well. So, I could have... In fact, he was being looked at really closely, I think, in a game out here at the NTCA. They were playing Queensland, and it was, Healy and Sewell were the two keepers.
Wow.
And the national
Ian
selector...
Healy versus Richard Sewell.
Yeah. And Greg Chappell was here to watch both of them. And Sewell probably didn't have the best game, and Healy did well.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Obviously, beyond Tasmania, you've had significant roles in the national men's and women's teams as well. You must be, and obviously just recently, over the last little while, with the Melbourne Renegades in the WBBL, you must be a great deal of satisfaction with what you've been able to, not only contribute personally in cricket for as a player, but for Tasmania, but on a national scale and nurturing so many great cricketers.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic journey, and one, I often sit back and pinch myself to think that I've been able to, get the opportunity to do that. And it all came out of my opportunity with Tasmania, which, going back to when, I was working the Tasmanian cricket and had done for quite some time, nearly 15 years. And then, they were looking for a state coach, and, for the first time, they decided that, we'll give a Tasmanian person a chance to coach our team. And I had a lot of support, particularly from David Boone at the time, who, is a great mate of mine, but he really believed in what I could do with this cricket team. So, and in fact, when I was announced as coach, the chairman of the Cricket Tasmania board at the time, his opening line to the media was that I was the second choice. They actually wanted Booney to be the coach. But, so that wasn't a great place to start, knowing you were actually, the second choice. But look, I had a belief that we had a cricket team and some players coming through our system that I'd had a lot to do with, could play some really good cricket, but we had to play a different brand of cricket. And that was the challenge. And we managed to get that right, and we got it right pretty quickly. And then we started to believe that we could win. And that was probably the biggest challenge, to actually, get or instill in the players that, if we played this brand of cricket, we could actually not just compete in this competition and survive, we could actually be the best. And that took a little time, but it's amazing what happens when you start to win. Yeah. And a lot of that disbelief leaves the change room quite quickly. And then, players come through into an environment that's a little bit different. They're challenged by it because, you've got to take your game to another level. We did that. And then, in 2007, in my second year, we won our first ever 4-day title, Pura Cup then, but we like to call it the Sheffield Shield, and we won it by 400 runs. So, it was, quite an incredible journey and that sort of level of success happened quite quickly. But we had the right people, and we had the right people in the right places at the right time, and we took some risks, particularly around our environment where we played. We wanted to change our environment, which is a huge risk when we wanted to turn it, more in favour of the bowlers. Only because I believe we had the bowling attack that could take 20 wickets every game. That's how you win 4-day cricket matches. We were relying quite heavily on winning our games with the bat. And we were a very good batting side for a long time. But, we were relying on people setting up games for us, declare and give us something to chase. I think that's a negative way of playing your cricket, but at the time it was needed. So we went the other way, and sometimes we went a bit too far with it. So it was hard to convince the batting group that this was a good idea, because the wicket was doing, a lot more than it used to. But we taught the batters to cope with that. And we got the right type of batters into our team to cope with it. We managed to score enough runs, but we always took 20 wickets.
It's the name of the game, isn't it? I'm going to open it up to the boys as well, because we're going to chat about footy, because you've, obviously been a Simpats man for a while, but you also captain coach down at Avoca, down in the Fingal Valley. Looking forward to some stories from down there, some yarns, but also the Exeter Football Club, obviously very close to Parrot Park, Tim.
Well, it's enemy territory.
Yeah,
Enemy
yeah,
territory, but I'll open it up to the boys. First, how's Ollie go as a cricketer?
Very good.
Very good cricketer?
Yeah, no, just by the sound of it, I've got to get him off the golf course, I reckon.
Yeah,
He's falling in love with his golf. But,
Yeah.
no, good. Been a bit hindered with some injury, but his best cricket's in front of him, I reckon.
Right, there we go, Ollie. Pumped your tyres up.
Well, yeah, that's what we hope. Like you said, do need to get off the golf course. I think probably for the sake I'm actually not that good at it as well. So there's probably not that much of a future in it. But yeah, no, it's I definitely think a little bit I've sort of had of Tim, definitely through the Raiders and all that kind of thing. I think probably the thing, mate, just talking about cricket quicker, that I know we're talking about all the stuff you've done in the past, but I suppose your motivations and contributing to cricket at the moment, particularly on a more local level, there must be a real desire to, I suppose, contribute to the cricketers that we've got in our area, and it seems like you've got a real belief of what the young cricketers in the state can do.
Yeah, look, I've just finished up a contract in Melbourne. That didn't end well with the Melbourne Renegades, but that's sort of Cricket Victoria for you. That's that didn't wasn't, I didn't think, the most professional way of exiting me out of it, but it probably gave me the motivation to say, well, that's it, I'm not going to deal with those people anymore. I'm going to deal with the people I trust, and they're Tasmanians. And that's and I'm not, that's not in any way, being super critical of them, but this is where I enjoy my work, and I've got a great belief that we can continue to build Tasmanian cricket. We've got a lot to do up here in the north of the state. There's a huge job to turn around what's been going on up here, but the Raiders will be very important to that journey. But underneath the Raiders is where some of the big work's got to be done, because we've potentially taken our eye off the ball a little bit up here, and we haven't had high performance program or a high performance coach in place for nearly 2 years now. So we've got to fix that anyway. And I think that's there's a process going on at the moment. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think particularly throughout the show with Bobby and Putt, we're talking about the women's program even that we've got at the footy club and how exciting that is. And I think the women's game in football is incredibly exciting. We're seeing it grow every year. What's obviously in the cricket, there's some pretty exciting young females up in this part of the state and in the state. Where do you see, is there even a ceiling for women's cricket, do you think? Is it just going to continue to evolve and evolve?
I think women's sport in general is a massive growth area in this country. And women's cricket is leading that. And obviously we've just seen a World Cup played at the MCG in front of 86,000 people. It's massive. Having worked for 5 years with the national women's team as an assistant coach, travelled the world with them and been involved in a lot of their series, and seen even in that time, in 5 years, I think I started there in 2013, just after I finished with Tasmania. And the growth in the game, both individually as players, but then also just what supports them, has been immense. It might just have changed a little bit with our recent circumstances, and there'll be some cutbacks, but it'll regrow again, and it'll get back to potentially what it was before. But the ability now to develop really good female cricketers in the systems, both state and the national system, is fantastic. So, and that's what excited me about being involved in it. So having done some work with the national team and then an opportunity in Melbourne, I thought, I'm really enjoying coaching the females in the game, because it was just different. But they're great to coach, and you've got to actually coach them. And they ask a lot of questions. That might surprise you a little bit, but they do ask a lot of questions and why things are as they are. And, and that made me sharper as a coach. Whereas with the guys, I got to a stage where it was just people management, program management, throw you a little bit in here and there, but really it was about setting up the environment. Whereas with the girls, you still, really got to coach.
Yeah, I coach our women's side, and I agree totally with that. It is, you really... Yeah, I've coached men before and junior kids, and I reckon this is probably one of the best things I have done. You just get so much reward out of it, to see them grow, and they're just sponges. They just absorb everything. I could talk cricket for bloody hours. I love my state cricket. Firstly, just on back with the junior program, my daughter's 13 and plays in the junior program. Did the Hurricanes thing or the Northern Force thing this year, and I think, as much as we can grow the game, get more players playing, it's better, because the numbers weren't that high, there wasn't as many games this year, and that was something she found really frustrating. So that'll grow in time, I know, but yeah, that'll be the main thing, I reckon, to keep that going for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's really important in Tasmania now that we look to provide some inspiration to young girls to play, and we've got some really good players that have come out of the Tasmanian system. We've got to get them front and centre.
Yeah,
a great example in Tasmania is we've got Kristen Beams back in the state.
My cousin. Yeah,
obviously. So, I'd be using Beamsy. She's a great individual. She's a very good coach, and she's been a very successful player. And she's got a great story to tell. Again, about perseverance, hanging in there, and belief. Yeah. So we've got to use those role models really well and get them out there to the young girls around and say, well, you listen to Kristen Beams' story, and that should inspire some girls who are maybe, I don't know if I really want to play this game. Well, here's someone who, at a ripe old age, I think 29 or so, when she debuted to play for Australia, and I was there that day. It was just a fantastic moment.
Yeah, dominated a series in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, she did. She just bowled the house down. And, she was a bit unlucky with some injury that curtailed it for her. But, she's got another role to play in inspiring young Tasmanian female cricketers now.
Yeah. Yeah, and just on the state men's cricket that you coached, I love my state cricket. I got to one Shield final and didn't quite get to the other. They bowled them out by the time I got to Oakland, so I left them a bit late. So
should have given me a ring, mate. I would have slowed it down.
Oh, mate, it was when I come up the outlet here in Launceston. It was lunch, and they were 7 for. I thought 40 minutes in lunch. Surely there'll be a partnership, and I'll get there. There was one moment I wish I owned a helicopter. I could have got there a bit quicker. But when I come through Oatlands on the highway, the first entrance to go in, Stuart and McGill come out to bat, and by the time I got to the exit, they were out. He didn't get out. I think might have been Dougie Bollinger got out.
Dougie Bollinger, LBW.
Yeah, but that was just a phenomenal win. I'd followed them right through. I remember the first Shield final they made when they went to Sydney and got absolutely slaughtered. But just the way they made that final in Adelaide the week before, it was set up with a declaration, like you said, and Dean Hills and Punter got big hundreds to get them over the line.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I remember sitting on a track to listen to that on a Sunday afternoon, that win. But the second Shield final, 2010 and 11, that was a really good, just like a test match, listening to it. And big Ed Cowan had a big 100. A player played in that for the opposition for New South Wales, dominating world cricket now, Paddy Cummings. 17-year-old he was then. First innings he bowled 48 overs, and I know later in the year he made his test debut and he dominated that, but he never played for probably 2 years later. I don't know, he was bowling 48 overs as a 17-year-old, but had that done him any good? Or
stupidity.
Yeah.
And it happened at the selection table. So they had a dilemma at the selection to play the extra bowler that they needed to play, so you've got to take 20 wickets to win it.
Yeah.
And this probably had a little bit to do with it, maybe their belief they couldn't win. I'm not sure. But and we were playing pretty good cricket leading into that final. But they needed to drop a batsman, and it had to be maybe Ben Rohrer or Phil Jakes.
Yep. And
they weren't prepared to make the tough decision to play the extra bowler, so they left I think it might have been Greg Lambert, who would have been pretty handy, just bowl stump to stump, and he would have just peppered away at one end, and you bring young Cummins in as more of an impact bowler. But they take Cummins in, Trent Copeland, and Coit, who was just an average average first class cricketer. Not average in a bad way, but he was not going to bowl us out.
Yeah.
And then they had Steve O'Keefe, who doesn't spin it. Not that it turned much at Bell Reid, but they just didn't have a attack to take 20 wickets. But so they played the 17-year-old, hopefully going to bust through us, but that just didn't happen. So 48 he broke down after that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bad decision by New South Wales cricket, and they didn't really go into the game with a team that could win. So again, what's the point? That it's a little bit like I saw the Shield final that Tasmania played in. I think it was 98. I think in Perth they made the final over there, and we won 6 games in a row leading into that. We were on a roll. So I was doing a little bit of work with the team then, and we had to do exactly the same thing in Perth and actually pick a fresh fast bowler, because all our bowlers, so we had Mark Ridgway, Funky Miller, Ben Target, they just bowled us to 6 wins.
Yeah.
And they were cooked.
Yeah.
And well, particularly one of them was cooked and injured.
Yeah.
But they couldn't make that decision to say, well, we're going to leave him out. You know, because he's bowled us, here, we've got to give him the chance. But we had Damien Wright and Gerard Denton sitting on the bench. And particularly Denton bowled like the wind in the nets. And the last training session, I said, you just got to pick him. Got to pick him. And what do we need? We needed someone to stick it up. Brendan Julian,
he was the one. Got that 100, didn't he?
Yeah. Couldn't get him out. And, we'd got through their top order.
Did Gilly play that? And Gilchrist? No. I thought he might.
He might have.
Yeah.
You got a better memory than me. So that's New South Wales did the same thing in that final. But the good story out of that, they batted first and scored 400. So they put some pressure on us. So they're 400 on the board. No matter what sort of game it is, that's pressure. And you mentioned Ed Cowan, and there wasn't any doubt that we were going to have to bat for a long time, because it's what we've been able to do, and our batting order was in good nick. And I was just standing at the door on the way out of and he walked past me and he said, Coach, I'm going to face 300 balls and we'll win the game.
Yeah.
That was the last thing he said.
Yeah.
He faced 334, 100, and got 130.
Yeah.
And we won the game.
Yeah.
So it was interesting that his mindset was, nothing more than facing 300 balls. If I can bring it down into that compartment personally, everyone else can bat around me and they can't beat us.
And he played test cricket after that. That probably got him a test match.
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. And he played so well. He was a recruit that we deliberately went after because of his game. So we'd played against him. He played against him in the Shield final, 2007.
Yeah.
And, but we liked his cricket, and we liked him as a person. He was the right style of guy, probably a little bit intelligent for our change rooms at times. So, but you got to have that mix, So he brought things to another level. But what he was is he played our conditions, and if the conditions were tough on batters, he was perfect.
Yeah.
He just play a miss and just get on with it. But he played a good game for Belrive and got him into the test team.
I'll have one more question. I could talk all night, but out of all the Tasmanian players you coached, and obviously you coached Punter, who was one of the best ever, who's the best you coached? And look, probably even, I don't know, you had some blokes with some big hearts, like Damien Wright, like his efforts in those Shield finals, and Luke Butterworth's effort. Even Klingleffler's 100 in that first final, like we know that innings between Butterworth and Klingleffer in the first one. It was because it was on the edge at that stage. So out of all the players you coached, and there was a big list of them. You had a lot that actually went on to play for Australia. Who just name a few or how you rank them?
From a pure coaching point of view, obviously, having some involvement with Ponting.
Yeah.
So, and that was at a young age. I was coaching him when he was in our youth program. So I knew a fair bit about him and coached him in under-19 cricket. And then obviously when I was coaching the team, he was heavily involved with the national team, but he was very close to the Tasmanian team. He was always on the phone. He was in contact with us. He'd be, if you needed a bit of advice, he was always a good sounding board. And then when he came back, and his career with Australia was finishing, but he was, dedicated to the Tasmanian team. And it was just fantastic. It was, like they say, there's no fairy tales in sport, but 2013, and I'd announced that I was going to finish. I'd had my 8 years, and I thought that was enough. And Ricky, fell into our lap, basically. And he was so determined to go out with something he didn't have, and that was a national title for Tasmania. And his influence around the group that year, apart from the runs he scored, which was, he had a great year. Yeah. But his influence, around our group, bringing young players on like Jordan Silk and the like, he was just fantastic. So, he's always going to be one of the great players that I was lucky enough to coach.
Yeah.
But from a pure coaching point of view, I love working with George Bailey.
Yep.
Only because he was a challenge, and it was different. and it was different week to week sometimes. But he has exceptional ability to compete in the game and find a way. It doesn't always look conventional, as we've seen late in his career. It wasn't conventional, but that's George. But again, in his ability, I think, his influence, and that's why he's a great leader, and that's why he was a very good captain. His influence in the change room, and being able to keep things simple. And he's still, pretty much an old-fashioned cricketer, which is great to see. But very smart in saying that as well. So he was great, and there was always work to be done with George.
Yeah.
So, and which I liked. I liked that challenge. Yeah. And I was happy for him to tell me, no, that's no good.
Yep.
That doesn't work. That's good. And that's the relationship you've got to have, coach and player. There's got to be a trust both ways.
Definitely.
So if he doesn't like it, then I've got to trust that. And similarly, I think, you've got to change this, so let's try this. And that's the way it works best.
Yeah.
And I think probably, and not because he's now the Test captain, but the work I've been able to do with Tim Payne over the years, and that started young as well. That was youth cricket times when I was looking after those teams, and our relationship has stayed very solid ever since. And even through his dark times, we were pretty close. I was coach, and he desperately wanted to play. And then when I finished and he started coming back in, we were involved in some helping him make some decisions, and now helping him with his cricket again, a little bit. So those are good. You mentioned Luke Butterworth, who's just the bloke that's flown under the radar for Tasmanian cricket significantly. And he's in South Australia now, working for South Australian cricket. If I had any influence, I'd be looking to get him back into our system somewhere. Just a great human being, but what a competitor in big games.
Oh, he stood up.
Extraordinary competitor in big games. Yep. Like it was, I was only going through some scrapbooks. I was throwing out papers I got stacked up. I've never read them, and because the wife said, you got to clean up that mess, So I've been, locked down, so it was a perfect opportunity. But go pick up the papers and read some of the articles, and then you get to the big games, and once again it was Luke Butterworth.
Yeah.
Exceptional career in standing up in the moment.
Yep.
And you mentioned the partnership with Klinger and Sean Klingleffer and him in our first win. That was exceptional.
Yeah, it was.
And it's what we built. A lot of our, if you like, culture. It's a funny old word. Culture can be misused a lot, but if the culture of Tasmanian winning games was around partnerships, it was often that partnership that was, highlighted. This is how to do it. This is what it's about. When you're back to the wall, and we did it regularly. And Payne's been a big player in those partnerships as well. When we got into trouble with our top order, he was the guy that would bring a partnership together. And people would criticise Payne for not scoring enough hundreds.
Yeah.
Mate, he scored some 60s and 50s not out for us that were worth 200s because they won us games.
He played in that Shield final as a batter.
He did,
Yeah, open.
He did, yeah.
And I think he got that season, did he get his highest?
Yeah, he got 200 in Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as a young opener.
So
the world was his oyster. But his career as a batter, in that number 7 spot, either putting some icing on the cake, didn't happen that often, but he was great in the contest when it was tough.
Yeah.
And he's a tough cricketer.
Funny man. I heard a podcast of him on how he games, and he rates himself as a footballer. James Hird, he compares himself to.
Yeah, I reckon James Hird went into the odd pack. I don't think Payne did. I don't think Payne went near a pack.
Yeah. No, he's very funny.
No, but I'm very fortunate, and of course Hilfenhaus, was really the person in 2006-07 who
60 wickets.
He was the difference.
Yeah.
And it was the reason why, my push at the time was to change our wicket, because we had a bloke in our system who was bowling 145 km/h outswingers. Yeah. No one in the country was doing it. No one was swinging the ball like Hilfie, because he could swing it late, at pace, and he had a bloody quick bouncer.
Yeah.
So I said, we've got to do something about our surface, because this bloke could win us the Sheffield Shield final. And, he bowled a lot of overs that year. In fact, broke down. He bowled a lot in the final. A bit the same, he was sore afterwards, and he got a bit of a stress fracture. But it was probably more the season that. But that was he came back strong. He was fine. But
he played for Australia.
He
after
did,
that,
and
99
an exceptional talent. And again kept it simple and just ran in, and he asked Hilf what it was all about, and it was just top of off stump and occasional
Yeah,
sniff, that'll do the trick.
20-odd wickets in Ashes series, didn't
It
he?
did, yeah.
In
I
09,
think he ended up
yeah.
on 99 wickets for
Yeah,
his
he did.
career, I think.
Yeah.
But Xavier Doherty, list goes on, mate. you
Yeah,
know,
I know.
and-
We better talk footy, Pub. I'm gonna have to go all night here.
Oh, thanks for waking me up, Bobby. That's good. Thanks. No, I'm the same as you, Bobby. I love my cricket. But anyhow, good to have you on Parrot Park Radio, Tim.
Yep, lovely to be here.
Especially being an Exeter footballer and coach. Just for the listeners out there, just inform us what year you went to Exeter.
Yeah, it was in the late 80s. So it was 87 was my first year there, and I had 4 years with the club.
Yep.
And loved it. It was really a great club. We were competitive we were probably just a couple of really good players short of being a consistent finals team, but they had a great social life, and there was a really good bunch of people.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I know. I went there in '85 as a young 17-year-old and learnt obviously the close town rivalry.
Oh.
And you'd agree, whenever we played one another, you just go to another level, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I can remember the first game I coached. It was against the Parrots at Exeter, and I tell you what, it was welcome to the Tamar Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Coily, I thought, geez, what's this about? So there was some serious clashes that day, and of course I always found it funny because here's a community that is so close, and most people, the locals would be seeing each other every other day, and yet on the footy field. Gee, it might as well been World War.
Oh, big.
It was fantastic, and but that's the great part of footy, isn't it? Those rivalries but you knew you'd played. You'd played those games against the Parrots, and they told me all about it when I arrived, and said that, the big games will be against Bridgenorth, and they were.
Yep.
And probably in the time, we were on the probably losing end of most of them. I mean, we might have won a couple of times, but they were great games of footy. Good crowds, plenty of interest off the field as well. Yep. So it was good fun.
It definitely was.
Good fun.
Well, just getting on to that, your 4 years at Exeter, I think we'd probably know, but who was probably the best player you played with at Exeter?
Oh, look, he's probably the best footballer I played with, pound for pound, anywhere. I played a bit at Launceston as well, and Wim Varson was just an outstanding footballer, and probably could have played. I don't know, but he had the ability to play VFL football. I reckon he was probably a bit small, but look, I don't think I've come across a player as good as him. I played with some really good players at Lonnie Footy Club as well, but Wim was outstanding, and he could play anywhere, but he was so fit, so fast, strong above his head, hard as anything. So. People ask me who are the best footballers I've played with, and I played a bit of NTFA footy at the time when it was very strong, and I still say Wim Varson. So.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough, and we've touched on it a couple of weeks ago on the show when they folded in '91. Wim and Brummer and Simon and those boys come up to Bridgenorth and spent 4 years, and fortunately enough for Wim, he got to play in a premier for his first premiership in '96 with us.
Yeah, which was
all those games.
Yeah, that was a great result for him. Yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah,
it would have been a shame for him not to have played in a winning grand final team for sure.
No worries. And then in that comp, in the West Tamar Association at the time, who was one of the better players you would have played against?
There was some good ones. So I remember a guy I played a little bit with up at St Pat's, Peter Jones, Harvey Jones. He played down at Beauty Point. They had a good side, and Frank Woolley was there.
Yeah.
So I really rated Frank Woolley as a footballer, and Harvey and I were really good mates. But I thought they were two very good players. I thought. And we had this. I played obviously with Barry McLeish. Played at Exeter with me. What a legend he was, and Mal Atkins, two really good forwards. And had played a lot of NTFA football as well. Yeah. And you mentioned a couple of local blokes that I love, like Brummer and David Simons. You just think those people are they just your heartbeat of your club.
That's right.
And I loved them, and. The other bloke and he was at Exeter, I thought was one of the better footballers I'd I'd played with was Michael Upson.
Mickey
Upson, and unfortunately, he kept getting concussion. But I tell you what, as a mover on the football field, he was silky. He was very good, I thought.
Very quick bowler too.
He could play cricket. Yeah. He could certainly play cricket. So it's a long time ago. So I'd have to have a real think about some of the other players. Yep. I just knew it was a really hard brand of football.
Yeah.
But collectively as an association, and so you got that when the amateurs sort of joined in, and there was a great feeling off the field. I reckon it was those football matches where it could be as hard as anything, but in the bar afterwards, no matter what happened on the field,
have a beer.
And it's that community sport thing that's so important to us.
Yep.
And we've got to make sure we continue to nurture it. But they were great years, and we had a few players came from Avoca with me down at Exeter, and they still talk about Exeter as one of the great times of their careers. And a few of my ex-teammates at Launceston were there, and then obviously the locals who were the heartbeat of the place. It was great. But, the club was, a little bit short on people off the field. It's like all community sport. We're just finding it hard to get those volunteers into our clubs, and we were certainly that. We were, finishing footy and then having a shower and then go and run the bar or run the social event or whatever. And that's what I'm pretty sure, most clubs along the way have experienced that, and that's always going to be the challenge.
Yep. And just to finish off with one last thing, we do it on our segment every week. In that time, who was the most annoying person around the club? I think you've probably already mentioned him.
Well, it could have been Brummer.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I just happened to see him the other day too. He's going really well.
Yeah.
He's in a good place.
Yeah, good bloke.
I tell you what, he could do. He could kick.
Yeah,
he could.
So he could kick. Oh, geez,
come out and kick torpedoes without even warming up on a cold training night.
Yeah,
bang, kick him 60 metres.
Yeah. He'd play him at full back and just get everything opened up. And just let him go and put Wim Varston at centre forward. You half a chance to get it.
He told us he was a full forward. He'd come play full forward for us.
When you had Mel Atkins and Barry McLeish played a bit as well at times, so we had a couple of decent forwards. So Brummer, you're in the full back, mate. See you later. They good human beings.
Good bloke.
No, good stuff. Thanks, Tim.
You mentioned Malcolm Atkins, and you said, Tim, it's all about having a beer after the game. I remember umpiring a game down Exeter one day, and Malcolm Atkins said, "You're not welcome to come in for a beer after the game." So
you've obviously had a bad day, Rick, and we lost by the sound of that.
Yeah, no, that would have been. Yeah, I'm trying to think who was playing that day, but he'd retired obviously by then. But he was down there at the club, and he wasn't too happy with me. But anyway, hope you're going well, Malcolm, if you're listening. I've got one final one because, time is getting away, but we could go all night, but we better not. Avoca, you must have some story. You must have a great story from down your Avoca days down there in the Fingal Valley. Have you got something that you can actually share?
It was an interesting decision, but again, it came down to a couple of my good mates were going back there. So two legends of Launceston football, Ian Donachie and Paul Ellis, who are actually born and bred Avoca people, and they wanted to go back to the town. They could probably see the club starting to, wane a little bit. And again, for the same reasons we just spoke about, just people. So they did a lot to convince me to leave St Pat's, where I was really enjoying my football, and I had a family connection there, and we'd won their first premiership in 30 years in 1984. And it was a huge decision to leave. But it gave me a chance to actually coach a club in my own right. So I was going to be the coach. But, I was, 25 years of age and hadn't a lot of experience. But, I knew I was going to have a lot of good players around me, particularly those two. And we took a few others from town. So probably had a good year on the farms down there that year. So there was a little bit of incentive, you might say, floating around. So we managed to put together a team that was pretty awesome, but in saying that, it's still got to work, So, the Avoca year, I still say it, that it is one of the great years in my sporting career, only because when I you do your research, you drive in, and I'm at Avoca. I heard a bit about it, and but you actually do your research, and there were 211 people living in Avoca that year. Not a lot of people. Obviously, that's people spread out, but you think, gee, this is a small town. It's getting smaller by the year, But so what a good opportunity. Yeah. And basically, what happened is that the football club became the reason that town was existing. In that year, everyone was behind the footy club. So with that came a fair bit of responsibility, a little bit of pressure. Yeah. But we had a great year. We had a good team, and we worked hard and we got fit, which was I think the key in the end. And we went through the season undefeated, and then we made it. We beat St Helens, were the other team. St Helens were quite strong, coached by John Thurley, who played a lot of football in Hobart, a very good player. And they were the team to challenge us, but we beat them easy in the second semi. Went into the final. They won the preliminary, and we found ourselves 25 points down, 7 minutes into the last quarter. It was a bit of a worry.
Really?
So, and then, collectively, this team, it was a hell of a team, or was a very good team, and we found a way. We kicked a couple of goals and we got on a bit of a run, and we ended up winning by 7 points.
Wow! I
left Avoca, I think, on Thursday morning, and I had to sneak out just a bit at dawn before anyone else was up to get out of there. So it was one of the great celebrations in a little town that embraced a bunch of footballers. And yes, there were quite a few people from town, but it was the local people that got the most enjoyment. And we did a lot of things that year, that were important to the town. And that was when our town blokes came down and we played at Avoca. We all stayed in the town. That was compulsory. Because we all getting a bit of money, and not a lot of money, but that was the rule. You get a room at the pub, and you make sure you buy, the local people, the local blokes, the blokes who just turn up and play, make sure they get beers out of you, and you stay in the town, and we celebrate together, and we embrace this town. And that's, at the end of the day, that became really important to us, because we felt that we had, that ownership. And so it was a great year. I learned a lot about coaching and how to try and get people together in that year. And I was 25 or 6 years of age, so it was a good time to learn about that. And there are a lot of other stories, but I won't go into them.
No, well, look, and you can just see the remnants of the ground still, can't you, as you drive out of Avoca there on the right? It is sad.
Well, it's sad. It's sad in a lot of ways. There's a lot of clubs have.
Yeah.
But it's a sign of the times. When you think about it, you drive through the Fingal Valley, and there's a football club in every town. It's just probably not sustainable now, or it isn't. We know that, and that was always going to be the way. But it's sort of a shame that there's not a football club through the valley now. But it is what it is. So they can't take those memories away. And it was really good football. It was hard, tough. It snows. It's cold. And, the green ginger wine was handy on many occasions.
Absolutely, I bet. Hey, Tim, great to hear some fantastic stories, both cricket and footy, and we could talk all night here on Parrot Park Radio, but some people probably got to go to bed. But look, we'll have to do it again soon, because it was great to hear some great stories. But I know genuinely you're always very generous with your time. You've achieved a lot personally, and collectively you've had a big influence on a lot of people sports-wise. So well done on that, and I know the journey's going to continue.
Thanks. And, just a quick one. Rick hasn't done his homework here, Tim, but I believe the 27th of next month. You got a big milestone coming up?
Yeah, it is the 22nd actually.
22nd.
Yeah, it is. It's wrong on a few websites.
Wikipedia's wrong.
Yeah, it is wrong.
Yeah.
It's it is wrong. I've seen that myself.
Yeah, the big.
But I'll leave that. I'm going to leave that. Maybe a little bit older. Than that.
The 6-0 is it?
I'm going to leave the 27th.
Up, mate.
I'd rather not do my research and bugger it up.
Well, I'm happy with the 27th. It gives me 5 more days.
And you're only turning 50.
All the best anyway, though, Tim.
Yeah. Look forward to the invite.
Yeah.
Right.
You won't get one. Just like Mel Atkins, you're not invited.
Time for a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
Exeter Hardware, your true value hardware, have thousands of products to make your next project a successful one. a long-time Parrot sponsor, call in and see Bill and his friendly staff today at 116 Main Road, Exeter.
Hillwood Berries is a family-owned and operated berry farm nestled along the Tamar River. From its beginning, just 9 years ago, the Dornoff family have proudly developed a thriving business of producing delicious seasonal fresh berries. Amongst many groups, they support the seasonal worker program and value the great reward that comes from seeing their local communities develop as a result. They have been proud platinum sponsors of the Bridgnorth Parrots Football Club, both men's and women's teams for the past 3, going on 4 years, and look forward to continuing this sponsorship into the future.
Titan Windows and Doors are your leaders in quality UPVC double glazed windows and doors with exceptional energy efficiency. With a comprehensive range, our friendly staff are sure to help you select the perfect choice for your new or existing premises. Call in and see us today at 9 Lagana Park Drive or phone 63 303 639, a proud Bridgnorth Parrots major sponsor.
Welcome back to Parrot Park Radio. Great to have your company and terrific to catch up with Timmy Coyle. Don't forget, we've got the Parrot Park Lotto coming up. And Ollie, you have taken ownership of that wheel already. I obviously have been sacked permanently. You did a good job of it last week. Are you going to roll out a few more balls tonight?
Yeah, well, Rick, I think it's been deliberately placed over here rather on your end. But at the end of the day, I think I can't get too ahead of myself.
No.
But yeah, hopefully we can definitely reel out a couple of real cult figures of the club tonight.
Yeah, well, we got a bit of money to go and give away tonight. Couple $100 and $100 for second on Parrot Park Lotto, and I think we're even going to get feathers on here for. Oh golly, what are we going to get tonight from feathers? Dear, oh dear. Well, he nearly lost his job after week 1. We had him back last week, wasn't too bad, but let's see how he goes.
It'll be good.
Yeah, all right. Well, you are, of course, with Pup, Bobby, Ollie and Rick, and now it is time to announce, well, we're down to the last couple of weeks in our player of the 2000s with the Bridgnorth Football Club. There's been plenty of debate, fellas, for weeks and weeks and weeks who was going to be in this top 10, and now we're down to the final 2, and we'll reel a bit of a bio first on this guy, and there's a fair bit to get through because he made his debut way back round 1, 1987 against, oh golly, that brings back memories for me, Northern Districts. I'll never forget that day. It wasn't 1987. Played his last game 22 years later, round 17, seniors versus Georgetown, 128 club games, which 55 were played between 2000 and 2009. He was named the coach and centre-half back in the Bridgnorth Football Club Team of the Decade, from 2000 to 2009. Senior coach for 6 years. Get this, took him to 2 preliminary finals, runner-up, and also, of course, to that premiership back in 2010. Senior leading goal kicker with the club, centre-half forward in the Team of the Century from 71 to 99 and 96. Premiership player as well, and almost 200 goals in his career in the seniors as well. And time to welcome him to Parrot Park Radio and congratulate him on being number 2 player for the 2000s. Welcome to Paul Beachy. How are you, Paul?
Hi, Rick. Good, thanks, mate.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Well done. It's been. We'll get to all the other footy and everything you've done in your career, but some good figures there, and no doubt some great memories from a playing and coaching point of view.
Yeah, definitely. It has highlighted what my birth certificate actually says. Been around a while now, so it's definitely been some really good times, and got a hell of a lot out of footy over the years, and pretty happy. And I didn't even realise half of those things you read out. So it's good. It's good to be on the radio with you guys.
Now, I'd like to ask you one question because I had a famous day. I remember umpiring a game one day with Northern Districts and all hell broke loose. How did you go in that debut game? Were you a little bit nervous taking on Northern Districts?
Oh, nervous is probably an understatement. From what I remember, those blokes were massive. I was an 18-year-old bean stick, and you're lining up on Peter Castles and Brett Hughes and all these type of blokes, and it was pretty scary, to be honest.
You are having a bit of a look at, obviously, Lonnie Footy Club played an important part of your life as well. You coached one stage there, I think, for a couple of years when you were vice captain by Peter Chisnell. I know he did had an amazing coaching career. I know he coached New Norfolk for a long time as well. Tell us a little bit about his influence.
Yeah, Chiz came over. He was larger than life. It was our first year in the TSL. I think it was 94. It might have been. So
yep.
He came over larger than life, and we were up against it pretty much right from the start to try and put together a side that's going to go up against the North Hobarts and Clarences and those sort of sides that had been established for quite some time. So, but his enthusiasm was second to none, Shiz, and he had a good handle on the game, but he just didn't have the cattle. But he was passionate, in some of his halftime speeches and his antics were something I'll always remember.
G'day, Beach. Bobby here, mate. Congratulations on getting number 2.
Thanks, Bob. How are you, mate?
Yeah, going good, thanks, Cobber. Mate, obviously what Rick read out there before, fantastic career at a lot of different clubs, but certainly at Bridgenorth. My first season with you was in '96 when you dominated the grand final. You had a great year, and we won that flag. The seniors won that flag, and then you went back to State League and back to Devonport. I think you were there in '98, and then come and coach us 99, 2000, 2001 as a playing coach. And then 10 years later, come back to coach as a non-playing coach when we did win a flag. I know it's hard to compare eras. That was 10 years apart. We had Vinna Hennessy on last week, as I know you listened to, and Savon Jason before that, who played in the 2001 season, or the first year was 2001. How do you rate the differences in those sides? I know 2010, yes, we won the flag. It was an outstanding side. There was a couple of good sides, 2000 especially. A few injuries probably hurt us towards the end. Is it hard? I know it's very hard to compare. I'm always interested to know your thoughts on it, having coached both sides.
Yeah, well, it was interesting when I was listening last week, and I'd even forgotten we got the preliminary final in 2000, and I had Phil Thurlow as my assistant coach at that stage, and he was a great help. But I was even trying to put together the players. Like, it's just everything seems to go so fast. But like the year before that, I think in '99, we got the wooden spoon. So,
we did. I know you had a few players let you down a bit. Couple went to the mainland and whatnot. And we lost to Georgetown by a point twice. I think the last game was at Bridgenorth to see who got the wooden spoon. I think Ronnie Duncan was coaching Georgetown at that stage. So and we lost, and then ended up with the wooden spoon. So then we, come out the next year and to go to the preliminary final. We must have had a massive turnaround, but just trying to put it together, it's hard for me to remember half of it now. Yeah, there was some good. We got a lot. Obviously, Plugger come down and Vinna from Lonnie, and we ended up, and the Boyd boys come along.
That's
and
right. Matty Dowling.
Yeah, Matty Dowling. There's a young fella from down Olverson way, Josh Cox. Remember, he come and played a handful of games. He ended up being a star down there, but he got injured. He did his ankle out of Bracknell, I think.
I was listening to it before, and hearing people say who they thought was the best players they played with and against, and I think he only played 5 or 6 games, but I dare say that you would have been talking to him probably next week, I reckon, if he continued to play for 2 or 3 years. He was a real, really good player. Yeah,
I think he kicked 20-odd in a game.
21 goals, I think, with Ulverston. So he was only young, and he was quite a talented triathlete too.
Yeah, he was. But, they were certainly...
He was definitely one, and Vinna was obviously another one. You just forget the Matty Dowlings and Pinos and those sort of blokes.
And I think Vinna was right. That 2000 side, we were very even. Like Mickey Sharman, I know a couple of young blokes come down. Foggo and Benny Tasker, David Parry, all played some good footy. Nathan Burrows, Adrian Third kicked quite a few goals as well.
no, we did have. Yeah, when you think about it, there wasn't any out-and-out stars in that side, was there? Probably Vince and maybe one or two others, but it was very even across the board.
Yeah, a 16-year-old at full-back was pretty handy, and Joel Clements, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, we debuted him that year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Against Georgetown, and look at the player he's gone on to become. So he's and what a clubman as well. So
yeah, definitely.
I reckon we'd be near a fair chance to be hearing from him next week, and that was my tip from the start. So anyway, we'll watch this space.
Yeah, we'll have to see, mate. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Bobby, you are you are a walking encyclopedia, mate. You are just prattling off all this stuff.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious me.
Yeah, I've got a good memory on some things, mate. Can't remember what I did this afternoon, but I remember 20 years ago. Yeah. I'll hand over to Pup, mate. But great to hear from you, Beach.
Cheers, Bob. Thanks.
G'day, Beach. Congratulations on number 2, buddy.
Thanks, Pup. How are you, mate?
Yeah, going well.
That's the way.
Listen, I'm going to go back to probably the year you did come down to Parrot Land, 87. It could have been 88. Footy trip down Hobart.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, no, this is not too bad. But back in the day, we're only young. You're 6 months older than me, or whatever, young blokes and whatever. And anyhow, I can't remember which night it was, but we ended up at the casino and then up into Regine's nightclub.
Oh, really? We wouldn't have done that, surely.
Oh, well, yeah, we got forced up there by the older blokes, but that's all good. Yeah. Anyhow, back then too, they had karaoke. I remember we've rocked in there and, yeah, yourself and myself, especially with a few Sherbies on board, we can sing all right. And you have to go and put your name down. I think you've gone, come on, Pup, we'll go up and we'll sing it together. And we put down our names to sing Layla by Eric Clapton. And that was all good. There was about five or six people in front of us. And when our names got called out, far out, I knew you could run all right, but you just beeline straight for the door. Left me high and dry, and a few other guys said, come on, Pup, you have to go by yourself. And I'm like, piss off, and I wasn't that far behind you, I tell you.
I'm not surprised you picked a song called Layla, mate. I'll be running for the hills.
Beach picked that, not me.
I tell you what, things must have changed. They can't get me off the karaoke.
Yeah, well, it's a bit the same, mate, yeah. No, all good.
Oh, well, if that's the worst you've got, Pup, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, like I said, I've got plenty of dirt on you, mate, but this is it's not an R-rated show, so anyhow. And another one I can remember, I think it was your first stint of coaching in 99 or 2000. You'd come up with this new drill. It was pretty full on, and you had to have your head around it. And I would started off doing it, but I think it was combined with the unders and the resis, and they were nothing against the unders and the resis, but they were fair cocking it up. And you've just gone. I think Tex said to me way back, he said, just watch Beach every now and then. He said he can lose his nut real easy. And you went off the show. I can't even repeat on air what you said to us, and basically get off and do a 400 and get back here again.
Never won 400. We had to do two.
It might have
been. It was always 2 400s.
Anyhow, I remember coming back, and we got there. We've lined up again, and I can remember there was a couple of young blokes, a couple of resis going, Pup, how do we do this drill again? I said, stand back at the end there and just lean on the fence and don't move, because we don't want to do another couple of 400s.
Speaking of drills, there's the old Beachy drill still runs now, Beach, named after you, in all grades, even mini league, the women's team, seniors, the Beachy drill, everyone knows what we're doing.
Still gets a run, doesn't it?
It still gets a run, mate. Good drill on a Thursday night. Yeah,
I remember I used to, every now and again, I'd lose myself while I was coaching. I'd throw the clipboard down and the magnets would go everywhere, and then tangles, or someone would have to pick them all up and put them back on the board again. Yeah.
All fun.
Bit of a worry.
Now, just to finish off with, you've touched on a couple anyway. Obviously, the 2 stints there at the club. Just even if you went back to when you first started, just a couple of the best players that you played with in your time at Bridgenorth.
Oh, gee, obviously Vinner and Joel were, right up there. And, someone else I think we forget about, and he toiled hard for so many years, was Danny Hall.
Yeah, definitely.
He was, he just never missed a game and
Yep.
just rucked all day and just thrived on it. Like I thought Hawley, mightn't have been the flashiest player, but I think he epitomised what those sides were all about for all those years.
Yep, that's right.
And I think, Josh Murphy was probably the most exciting player, and he was also a really tough footballer as well. And Daniel Sellers wasn't a bad player either, just quietly.
Mm.
And, so those sort of guys were ones that stick out a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess the ones, your next question is probably going to be the ones I've seen.
Yeah,
There's
again,
sort of-
played against, yep.
Yeah, Chrissy Jones, can't go past him, I don't reckon.
Yep.
And another one that no one's mentioned over the last 10 weeks, I thought Matty Bosworth out at Bracknell was a very good player.
Mm.
Used to cut us up, every week. And Michael Prasiak out at Longford was another good one.
Yep.
But I reckon Wicks, as everyone said, probably takes the cake, I'd say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you've been listening to the show, so you know what the next one's going to be about. In your time, who do you rate as the most annoying in your time at the club?
Yeah, poor old silly stopped it, hasn't he, really? But, I don't know how he's faring. I was going to send him a message and make sure his welfare was okay.
Yeah, no, he's all right.
But,
he's still silly.
I reckon, and this bloke will listen to this tomorrow too, but I reckon Lee Black was one of the most annoying blokes I've ever had as a coach.
Yeah, no, that's good.
He used to, I don't know what he ate or what he drank the night during the day, but like if he'd given a speech at half time or before the game or something, and he'd let one go, and it's just everyone would try and keep a straight face and try, and in the end everyone would start laughing, and then it was just, he was so annoying in that regard. so I'm putting him down as the most annoying person in the football club.
Well, that's good actually, because these two work together. I think Vinner actually mentioned Plugger last week as well. So Blakey was probably giving it to Plugger during the week, so now it can be reversed. So, yeah, no, good stuff.
Yeah, you'll like that old Leroy. I reckon I'll
Yeah.
get a message when he listens to this.
Yep. No, but all good, Beach. Thanks for
Excellent.
being on, and congratulations again, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
G'day, Beach. Hollywood here.
G'day, Ollie. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Congratulations on your number 2 position. One thing about you, particularly with your coaching, that I found really interesting there before that I was talking to Bobby, quite often if guys transition from coaching, from playing to non-playing, it will sort of work out, sort of rolling from playing, retire, and then basically coach the next year and just continue on doing that. It sounds, by the sounds of it, you had a couple of stints there where you were a playing coach and then you're a non-playing coach, and obviously you've had a bit of a stint there at OLs as well recently. What have been, I think, some of the skills and some of the real improvements you think you've made in your coaching and what you've specifically learnt over the time?
I guess from the early stages, I was coming in and you were just probably trying to take what you've learnt so far and trying to implement that without really having your own style too much in those infancy years. But like as time, I think I was a better coach the second time round, 2009, 10 and 11. So I don't know. I think, like for me, it's just getting the buy-in and having everyone, put their hand up and want to be a part of what's going on. I think, and me just lending that to the players to drive it themselves, and you're just facilitating really the drive within the group. And I was really big on everyone doing things socially and the training side of things. So I just think just getting that buy-in from everyone and just having everyone on the same page and all having that same want, I think made a big difference in those 9, 10 and 11. Like, we were really stiff not to go to a grand final in 2009. I think we kicked 6 goals, 23 or something against Georgetown, had them on the ropes early and, just kicked ourselves out of it. And they went on to beat Rochely the following week. So, those 3 years were pretty special for that group of players. So I don't know, I just think I got a bit better with age and a bit more maturity, I guess, and you learn a bit more as you go.
just finally, Beach, before we wrap it up, last couple of years, as Ollie touched on, you coached OLs. I think any involvement in... Oh, well, that's a stupid question because there's no football at the moment, is there? But like in terms of, do you see yourself being involved in footy once again? I think on that, with obviously with your firefighting and everything like that, it's a little bit difficult. But do you have that hunger to want to get back into footy again in some capacity?
No, not really, Rick. I've like the last couple of years, like OLs, that was a really good experience, and it was really challenging. Like they were about to, they were in a bit of trouble, really, like as far as players and different things go. So with the group, it was done collectively, so that wasn't just me. There was a group of people that got on board there and put that place, that footy club back, in a really good position. And I guess my train of thought with the OLs was I couldn't work out why they were, down near the bottom of the ladder. They had the best ground, one of the top 4 grounds probably in Tasmania, and facilities right in the middle of town. And so for me that was a challenge, and I really enjoyed bringing that together with a group of people that were there and hopefully put them in good stead for years to come now.
Yep. No, well, that finished off, very, very positive last year as well. I guess, with finals, etc. It's a great way to, leave a bit of a legacy there. Hey, Beach, great to catch up with you. Well done again on being number 2, and outstanding career on the ground and off the ground with your contribution to Bridge North over many, many years, and no doubt, hopefully, get down to watch Bridge North play at some stage down the track as we look forward to next year's premiership season. But well done again, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Beach.
Paul Beachy, number 2. Great player. Golly, he was a good player in his day, wasn't he?
Hard. And I just looked at there. I hadn't realised he was in the team of the decade. He was named centre half back, but he was named centre half forward in the team of the century before that. So in '96, he come there and played centre half forward. He won the Clary Boone in the '96 grand final as a centre half forward. But when he come back, Vinna Hennessy was obviously playing centre half forward a bit in that 2000. So Beach played a lot at centre half back, and he was a phenomenal player, just hard. Yeah,
hard to picture him as a skinny fella making his debut against Northern Districts, isn't it? When you think about making a debut against Districts doesn't get much tougher than that.
No, had a bit of a Brereton about him, the chicken legs, and even today, but he's big, broad shoulders on him.
Yep, no, terrific player and thoroughly deserved number 2. Number 1 will all be revealed next week. We're going to get to a break. We'll be back shortly here on Parrot Park Radio.
The Bridgenorth Football Club would like to thank their bronze sponsors, Scottsdale Express Freight, proudly supporting the Parrots for over 15 years, delivering to the North East, Meander Valley, Northern Midlands and Tamar Valley. Fast Eddie Plumbing, for great workmanship, on time, every time. F-Series Parts Tas, for all your F-Truck spares, quad bike spares and machinery and tools as well. Call Jamie today. So please, now more than ever, support those who support us.
Visit C&W Electrical Launceston for all your electrical needs. If it's heating and cooling products, power points and switches, LED lighting or solar power, C&W will have the solution. 100% Australian owned and operated and supporting local families and community and sporting clubs. The friendly team at C&W has over 130 years of combined experience in the electrical industry, so no question will go unanswered. So if you're building or renovating, get in and see Flinty and the crew at C&W Launceston, a proud sponsor of the Bridge North Football Club.
Freelands IGA Express are a Tats outlet with a full range of scratchies and gift packs. Freelands IGA store offers a full range of groceries, fruit and vegetables with an in-store butchery. Special orders are welcome. Freelands IGA have friendly and helpful staff with car parking located in the rear for your convenience. So for all your shopping needs and inquiries, head to Freelands IGA Express, 112 Main Road, Exeter, or call them on 6394 3066.
Thanks to our great sponsors. You're listening to Parrot Park Radio with Pup, Bobby, Ollie and Rick. And our next guest, well, he played 42 games with the Bridgenorth Footy Club and he was also a member of last year's senior grand final team. He's headed abroad now, living and working in London, and it is a great pleasure to welcome Tyson Gray to Parrot Park Radio. G'day, Tyson. Good morning, or is it just gone lunchtime over there?
G'day, how's it going? Yeah, it's just peak past noon, so sunny weather, nice 30-degree day, so yeah, sunshine.
Yeah, we've had how many millimetres of rain the last few days?
I think we've seen the sun once in 2 weeks,
right.
I reckon.
Yeah, if you keep bragging about the weather, this will be a very short conversation, Tyson. It's been absolutely miserable down here. You wouldn't be missing that side of it. No doubt you're missing the footy, but how's life treating you over there in London?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I found an AFL team over here that I'm planning on joining up before all this COVID hit, so kind of reminded me a bit like home. But yeah, it's a lot different, bigger city, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Fantastic.
G'day, Tice, Bobby and mates. How are things going over there? Like, obviously, COVID's been huge around the world, and the UK copped it pretty bad. But I did hear today the PM over there said pubs will be open on the 4th of July. Is that right?
That's what they're planning, but I'm unsure if it'll actually go ahead. We've still got like heaps of cases each day and heaps of deaths, so they're pretty optimistic, but hopefully 4th of July, because I am missing a nice fresh pint.
Yeah, no doubt, mate. But yeah, it's from over here, it just looks, well, Australia's going fairly well with it, really. But yeah, all the countries overseas just, it doesn't seem to be clearing up, but then they're getting things back running again, which, that'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. But you would have been teaching, mate, over there, that correct?
Yep, correct.
Yep. And so what, schools all shut, or are they doing online stuff, or how's that going?
So your schools are shut. Yeah, majority of it is online learning. I don't reckon I'll get schools back open until the start of the next schooling year, which is the start of September. So,
really? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're teaching them online, or you haven't started your job yet? Or?
No. I haven't started it yet, so I'll start in December. Not much happening in my life at the moment.
G'day, Tice, Pup here.
G'day, Pup, how's it going?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to hear that you're having some good weather over there in London for, probably for the next 2 days, and that'll be it, I reckon. That'll be your summer gone, I'd say.
Yeah, well, it's getting up to 30 and 32 and 31, and they've issued a heat wave and warning for people to stay inside, so...
Yeah, no, all good. Obviously we've had Bull on the show and spoke about you guys coming up from Hobart and just the way you embraced the club, especially yourself for the 2 to 3 years taking on the punters club role that we had at the footy club. That was great, and we obviously, because we're not there at the moment, I don't know who we were going to replace you with a punters club, but yeah, who knows? But yeah, just a great job that you did embracing the club. When you were about. And another thing, the Greatest Shave. Have you actually done that yet? I hear you've raised about $2,000.
Yeah, no. So that will be on Sunday. So
Yep.
The original goal was $1,200, and yesterday we ticked over $1,700.
Yep.
So on Sunday I'll be shaving my hair, the beard, and eyebrows.
Yes, I did. So you're going to be a full nude nut from
yeah,
the chin
full
up.
nude nut.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and 8 days after that I have my job induction for my new role. So that'll be interesting.
Probably a good thing you're not going to school teaching. No, good to hear from you, Tice. I'll pass you on to Ollie.
G'day, Tizzy. Ollie here. How you going?
Yeah, good, Woody. How are you, mate?
Very well, thanks, mate. I suppose, to be honest, the number one question I've got on my lips, obviously the Last Dance on Netflix or whatever. I wouldn't describe the boys getting back together at Bridgenorth as the Last Dance, but what are the chances, do you think, of us being able to see you in the Bridgenorth colours again and even potentially in the future getting quite a few of the boys back, because I think Pup sort of spoke about there earlier, your roles that you had at the club with the function and all the rest, but we sort of had a good couple of years up there with you about.
Yeah, look, I do think it's a high possibility. I was just thinking earlier, over the last 3 years, like, we've grown as a club, like, on the field and off the field. Like, the first year we were second last, only won 2 games, and the second year only just missed out on finals, and then obviously last year made it to the granny. But yeah, off field was just great. Like, I just think as a club we grew, so I definitely think we could get a lot of the boys back, even if it was just for one season. I do reckon we could recreate the Last Dance. We'll just have to get a film crew out there to just film the celebrations and all the success.
And I hope by then, if we're going to film that, you've got your eyebrows back. Otherwise, it could make some very interesting watching.
We got contacts in the media, mate.
Maybe if I like the look, I might just leave it. A few of the girls reckon that I look better without eyebrows, so I might just stick with it.
Won't need a lot of stage lighting then, will we? If we're going to be nothing else but shine coming from the cranium area, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll give Silly and Pup a good run for their money on the shine scale.
Very good. All right, good to catch up with you, Tyson. Thanks for taking the call over there in London, and enjoy the hot weather for the next couple of days.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Have a good one.
Stay safe.
Tyson.
See you, Tyson.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, it doesn't get to that temperature very often. They get a few days of it a year, but anyway, good luck to him. And good luck in the shave. Yeah. Boy, I don't know, but that eyebrows. Oof.
Yeah, he's a pretty... he can certainly be a pretty alternate character, Ticey, sometimes. So I think for me, when I hear something like that, my first instinct is, what are you doing? And then my second one is Tyson. So it's sort of, you almost just sort of cop whatever he's going with.
Fair enough. All right, we've got to get to a break. We are running overtime, but we still got to give some money away on Parrot Park Lotto and also get Feathers Joke of the Week. Back in a minute.
Next Phase Electrical has been operating throughout northern Tasmania since 2007. Based on the West Tamer, Next Phase offer an extensive range of residential and domestic electrical services to customers such as builders, real estates, body corporates and homeowners. We can help you from the design stage through to completion of project. Our team is creative and versatile in designing residential solutions to meet our customers' everyday requirements. Our expert electricians will make sure your home is left even better than we found it. We are so serious about our service, we offer a full lifetime warranty on all of our workmanship. Contact Sharon in our office today. Parrot sponsor.
Hi, it's Bridget Archer here, your federal member for Bass. I hope that you and your family are keeping safe and well during this challenging time. Thank you for your ongoing support of the Mighty Parrots and your efforts in helping prevent the spread of COVID-19. It's been a wonderful community effort. However, we can't afford to become complacent and risk undoing the great results we've achieved so far. As always, my office is open to you if you have any issues that I can assist with, or if you have any feedback which you feel should be passed on to decision makers. I hope to see you back at Parrot Park soon.
Ollie just can't wait to do the Parrot Park Lotto. He's got it there all ready to go. We want to see some good numbers tonight. We want to give some money away to people that have got nothing, and let's hope we draw out some different numbers. Ollie, we'll hand it over to you, mate. Turn that wheel. $200. What do we got?
The first one we've got there is 16. There, Bobby.
16. Lee Blackwell.
Oh, well, there you go. Yep. Speak of the devil. He's $200 to Lee Blackwell. Well done. And $100.
And the second one we've got is 32.
32 is Mao Gill.
There we go. Fantastic. Well done to Mao. Well done to Lee. And we'll do it one more time next week. $300 given away just like that. And I think I thought he might have gone to bed. We've gone overtime tonight, but then Bobby and Pup reminded me it's only up R7 over in the west. We are joined, as we are every week now, by Feathers. Good evening to you, Feathers, in Bustleton. How are you?
Good evening, boys. I'm very well, thank you.
Fantastic. And look, have you been working on some great yarns for tonight for us?
I've only got a couple today.
Righto.
I've got. Am I ready to go?
When you are, yep.
I've got one for Bobby.
Righto, mate. Yep.
What's the difference between a female Richmond supporter and a pit bull terrier?
I wonder. Tell me.
Lipstick.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that. That's very good. Bobby hasn't got much to say.
Oh, no, I'm waiting for the next one.
Here's the main one, the main course. These two guys used to do the pub circuit, playing their guitars and singing songs, and at the end of each bracket, they'd ask the crowd if they knew a song, and if the two guys didn't know it, you'd get $100 if the two guys were unable to sing the song. So they've been touring around northern New South Wales, all the pubs, and no one had been able to stump them. So one night they're sitting in the pub and they've played their songs, and they said, "Right, has anybody got a song to try and stump us for $100?" This guy yelled out, "Sing Farmer Jack." And the bloke said, "Farmer Jack? I don't know Farmer Jack." And he looks to his mate and says, "Do you know Farmer Jack?" He said, "No, I wouldn't have a clue. I've never heard of it." And they said to the guy in the crowd, "Okay, come up, pick up your $100. So he wanders up and he grabs his 100, and they said, "Well, before you sit down, you better sing a couple of bars." And he said, "Yeah, no worries. Farmer Jack to a king from lonely."
Oh, well.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh.
That's a shocker, isn't it?
Oh, well, you said it. Oh, dear. Well,
Hey, Glenn, Pup here, mate.
G'day, Pup.
I've got another one back at you again.
Yeah, good.
You heard where Nestle have possibly got to change the name of the Redskins and the Chico?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. Also, with the party mix, they've got to take the teeth out because it offends Collingwood supporters.
That's all right. Is that an original, Pup?
No, it's not original. For
Right.
me. I found it today.
You found that one today. Yeah, very good.
I like that, Pup.
Thanks, Glenn.
That's all right. Nice one. Nice work, Pup. We always ask every week, the weather's been miserable here. How is it over in Bustleton now? You had some shocking weather there a week or so ago.
Yeah, we had some shocking weather. Then we had some lovely days, and today was just windy. Last 2 days have been windy.
Not a great day to be on the pier.
Nah, not a good. No, you've got to pay to get on the bloody thing, Rick.
Hey, Glenn, did Zorba make it home all right?
Yeah, he went home on his 3rd day here. I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah, I reckon. Did he fix your telly?
Yes, it's all good.
Yeah? No, well done.
I can cast Foxtel and Netflix.
I thought you were talking about going down the pier and casting into the water, mate.
No, he's got to pay for that, Pup.
Yeah, they're catching squid down there at the moment.
Very good. All right, look, great to have you on. As always, Feathers, thanks for taking the time out. And we look forward to a couple of great yarns for our big show next week when we're going to announce our number one player of the 2000s. We look forward to it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Excellent, Feathers. Cheers, mate.
Catch you then.
See you, boys. Ta-da.
See you, buddy.
What'd you think of that joke, that last one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got me a bit.
Yeah, it did me, but anyway, he'll be
Anyway.
right. He'll bounce back.
He'll bounce back.
Yeah.
He's got to come up with a beauty next week, doesn't he? For the it's a big show.
Well, there's a bit of talk.
He reckons he's got one.
Golly. All right. Hope we're on delay.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Thanks again. Great show tonight. Great to catch up with Tyson, of course, our number 2 player, Paul Beachy, and wasn't it terrific to catch up with Timmy Coyle as well?
Yeah, great.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Big thanks to Chris Ball, as always, every week, looking after us magnificently, and City Park Radio. Look forward to your company next week when we announce the number 1 player here on Parrot Park Radio. We'll catch you then.